I'll take a little stop here. Damn, that's a big ass rattlesnake. I think he's dead. Oh well, I was going to take him home with me, but guess not. This is the 2017 Fiat 124 Spider. It looks almost identical to the one we tested about 6 months ago, but there is one difference. The other one was an automatic transmission. This second car is a 6-speed manual transmission. Normally when we get a vehicle, we do a complete test, the ride, handling, long-term driving. On this particular video, we're not going to do that. We're simply going to cover the difference between the 6-speed manual and 6-speed automatic and see which one might be better for you. Mainly we'll be looking at the performance differences and certainly the difference between the fuel economy. For those of you who would like to see a complete review on the Fiat 124, we did that on the other vehicle. We'll have a link for that video coming up at the end of this video. Now to start with, this is the fuel economy rating for the manual transmission car. 2536 with an average of 29. Here's the EPA rating for the automatic transmission Fiat. 26 city, which is 1 mpg more. 35 highway, which is 1 less. They both average out to 29.5, but in this case they say it averages out to 30 mpg. Bottom line, they're both about the same. You probably already know this, but if you don't, the Fiat 124 is based on the Japanese Mazda MX-5 sports car. The Fiat version has different styling. I think it looks a little sportier to me. And in place of the Mazda 2-liter engine putting out 155 horsepower, we get this Fiat little tiny 1.4-liter engine, but with the turbo power cranking out 160 horsepower. Because of the Fiat name, this has been marketed as a European car, but no, not quite true. Fact is, aside from the engine and the seats, we're looking at a Japanese car because it is assembled in the fine city of Hiroshima, Japan. And there you go. Engine Italy, transmission Japan. Hiroshima. I wonder if this car is going to glow in the dark. Little joke there. This is what I like about the Fiat 124. We get the Italian styling, a sophisticated high revving performance Italian engine, yet at the same time we get Japanese quality workmanship as well as Japanese reliability. Well, 70% anyway. So by combining the Italian best features with the Japanese best features, we end up with a very impressive car, which is why I like the Fiat 124 slightly better than the Mazda MX-5, although they are both excellent vehicles. Now getting back to the transmissions, a little history lesson here. Back in the olden days, if you wanted a performance car, you got a manual transmission. That was it. Automatic boxes were very crude. They were mechanically operated, had vacuum hoses, which is about as ridiculous as having a TV with vacuum tubes. They got lousy gas mileage. They were slower. You just didn't get an automatic transmission if you wanted a performance car. It was that simple. Today it's a different story. The automatic transmissions are computer operated, very efficient, very quick shifting. In most cases they get better fuel economy, or at least equal. And in most cases the cars accelerate quicker too. That's why Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati have pretty much abandoned the manual transmission gearboxes. In most BMWs and Porsches, you'll see an automatic in there too. Let's face it, if you're spending a lot of money for a performance car, why would you want a gearbox that makes the car slower and drink more gas if you can get a gearbox that makes the car quicker and use less fuel? Once again, that's why automatic transmissions pretty much rule today. The only complaint I have with the automatic transmission on the Fiat 124 is the factory does not give us paddle shifters on the steering wheel. You can shift manually by reaching down and grabbing the shift knob, but you have to take your hand off the steering wheel to do that. It doesn't work in corners very well. This is a sports car, Fiat. We need our paddle shifters. While the automatic transmission is superior most of the time, there are some cases where the manual gearbox might be a better pick some of the time. And this is one case right here. That 2-liter Mazda engine spreads its power all throughout the RPM range. This particular tiny 1.4-liter engine, that's 1400 cc's, about the size of some motorcycles, this power plant loves to rev. The faster you spin it, the more power you've got. It's just begging for a nice, slick 6-speed manual transmission. I'm not saying the automatic car was unpleasant. It worked just fine. But this particular vehicle is a lot happier with the manual gearbox. And just like this engine is happier with the manual gearbox, the smooth shifting gearbox is happier with a high revving engine, so it's a nice combination. Also, the clutch pedal is extremely light, very easy to operate. Doesn't take much pressure to push down. No problem at all with this. It's handy to know if you get stuck in stop and go traffic and give your left foot a good workout. By the way, many people are of the opinion the seats in the Fiat are more comfortable than those in the Mazda. Maybe, maybe not, but I do find these more comfortable for myself. Just saying. So question number 1, which Fiat is quicker? The manual transmission or the automatic transmission? If you read those automotive publications, they will tell you that the manual Fiat is quicker 0 to 60 than the automatic Fiat. And that's true because when you're jumping off the line, you have a clutch, you can rev it up, dump the clutch, get off the line quicker, and that will give you the better 0 to 60 time. Like so. And once that turbo spools up, this thing really moves. 0 to 60 times don't tell the whole story. There's a difference between racing from a stop and racing from a moving start. Say 15 miles per hour or above. In that case, the automatic Fiat is going to be quicker than the manual Fiat because the transmission shifts quicker in milliseconds, a blink of an eye. By comparison, the manual Fiat, the operator has to push in the clutch, shift the gear lever, then let the clutch out. That adds about a half a second on average per shift. When you get away from the tight curves and go to the mild curves like this, or straightaways, it really doesn't matter which gearbox you've got. Just enjoy the car. For the next phase of this trip, we're going to evaluate fuel economy. I've been driving this pretty hard for the past day and a half, so 23.3 isn't too bad. We'll take this out on the highway trip tonight and see if we can match the automatic car. I'm going to take a quick few seconds break to bring up a subject. As you can see, this vehicle is rather dirty, especially on the hood. I mention that because I have a certain person out there who's always sending me nasty emails. If I don't have a car that's totally spotless, why don't you clean your car? What's the matter with you? Well, see, it's like this. We have monsoon season going on, and that means around lunchtime, like right now, it's clear, sunny, pretty cool, 110, 112 degrees. But in the evening, we're going to have rainstorms, dust storms, 20-mile-per-hour winds. That's when the car's going to get dirty again, so I'm not going to wash it again. That simple. That is until I give the car back, then I'll detail it first. So all the dirtophobes or cleanophobes or whatever you call yourselves out there, please don't send me any nasty emails. Tell me the car's dirty. I know. So we'll continue on with the test and get some fuel economy readings off this. Besides, this car came from Detroit. Come on, nobody cleans their car in Detroit anyway. Oh, I'm going to get some hate mail on that one too. For our next fuel economy test, we're going to do some expressway evening driving. We're going to get some heavy traffic, so we'll be dropping the speed from 70 miles per hour down to the low 30s with stop and go. Well, we'll see what happens. Okay, our 20-mile expressway trip, 33.4 mpg. Pretty close to what the EPA sticker claims. We'll take it out tonight for a longer trip and see if we can improve this. We're going to take a highway trip, cruising at 70 miles per hour. Outside temperature just dropped below 100 degrees. Relatively cool for this area. And we'll see what type of fuel economy we'll get. Okay, on this 38-mile trip, 70 miles per hour, straight cruising, we got 34.6. I checked the video before we left. On the Fiat automatic transmission model, we got 34.8. So I think it's safe to say the MPGs on this trip and this road are exactly the same. Regardless of the transmission you get, ooh, that was a big bump. It's always fun to do this. Now we reset our computer for the return trip. We'll see what the fuel economy is for that coming up real soon. Okay, the previous Fiat 124 automatic did the return trip at 37.2 mpg. This was 36.9 mpg. So if you add up the two trip and back trip, the figures come out to about the same. Overall average of 36 mpg for both the automatic and manual Fiat 124 at 70 miles per hour cruising. So there you go. Not much difference. So here's the question of the day. Should you get the automatic Fiat or the manual Fiat? Certainly if this was going to be your only car for daily transportation, an automatic transmission would be more practical, but this isn't a practical car. I mean, it has no room in it, so you're not going to take it for long trips. No room for luggage, no spare tire. In fact, I had a difficult enough time just hauling groceries in this little econo box. This is a fun car, a second car, something to entertain yourself on weekend drives or Friday night cruising. So for me, the 6-speed manual gearbox would be the way to go, especially with this high revving engine. The two of them match each other very well. And there's always the price. This is what a base 6-speed manual costs. I think anybody can afford that. Also keep in mind, while Mazda rarely discounts their MX-5, the Fiat dealers often discount the 124 Spider. In fact, the week I was doing this video, they were giving $3,000 discounts. But if you want the automatic transmission, it still works okay. And in fact, we'll have the video link for that automatic transmission car we tested a few months ago. The link will be coming up right now.